The 19th of May, 1536, marked a seismic shift in the history of England. On a scaffold erected within the walls of the Tower of London, a young queen, Anne Boleyn, met her end with a single stroke of the sword. Her crime? High treason, adultery, and incest charges now widely considered to have been fabricated by her husband, King Henry VIII, who had grown weary of her and desperate for a male heir. While Anne's dramatic fall from grace and tragic execution have been immortalized in history, they were not a solitary event. But before we begin, don't forget to like and subscribe to help us grow our channel. Her death sent shockwaves through the very heart of the Tudor court, leaving a trail of devastation that irrevocably altered the lives of her family. The Boleyn family, once the darlings of the court, found themselves caught in a maelstrom of political intrigue, their fortunes and very existence hanging precariously in the balance. This is the story of the aftermath, a narrative of treachery, tragedy, and the enduring legacy of a family broken by a king's ruthless ambition. Before Anne's fall, the Boleyns had enjoyed an unprecedented ascent. Headed by Thomas Boleyn, a cunning diplomat and courtier, the family had strategically positioned its children for greatness. Thomas's daughter Mary had been a mistress to the king, a liaison that initially elevated the family's standing. However, it was Anne who truly captured Henry's heart, and more importantly, his obsession. He moved heaven and earth to marry her, breaking with the Roman Catholic Church and setting in motion the English Reformation. For a few glorious years, the Boleyns were untouchable. Thomas was made Earl of Wiltshire and Ormond, a title that underscored their newfound power. His son, George Boleyn, Viscount Rochford, became one of the king's closest confidants, a man of wit, charm, and intelligence who was poised for a brilliant career. They were at the pinnacle of power, their future seemingly secure. But the winds of fortune are fickle, especially in the Tudor court. As Anne failed to produce a male heir, and the king's eye began to wander towards Jane Seymour, the family's foundation began to crumble. The swiftness of their downfall was breathtaking. The same men who had once fawned over them now turned their backs. The accusations against Anne were a meticulously orchestrated plot, but they also ensnared her brother George. He was accused of incest with his sister, a charge so heinous it was designed to not only destroy him, but to completely discredit Anne. The evidence was thin at best gossip and rumours twisted into a grotesque narrative. At his trial, George defended himself with eloquence and logic, but it was a show trial, and his fate was sealed. He was executed 2 days before his sister, a final, brutal blow to the family. Don't forget to like and subscribe to help us grow our channel. His death was a testament to the fact that in Henry VIII's court, loyalty was a conditional currency, and power was fleeting. The executions of Anne and George Boleyn left their parents, Thomas and Elizabeth Boleyn, in a state of profound and public grief. Thomas, the ambitious patriarch who had once basked in the reflected glory of his children, was now a broken man. Stripped of many of his titles and his influence, he was effectively banished from court life. The man who had been a close advisor to the king now lived in a shadow. His grief must have been immense, a quiet suffering compounded by the shame of his children's supposed crimes. He lived for only a few more years, a sad and diminished figure who died in 1539. His death marked the end of an era for the Boleyn patriarch, a man whose life mirrored the rise and fall of his family, from the highest echelons of power to the depths of disgrace. And what of Elizabeth Boleyn, the Countess of Wiltshire? Her story is perhaps the most tragic of all. She was not a public figure like her husband and children, but the loss she endured was unimaginable. To lose a son and a daughter to the executioner's block, to see their reputations dragged through the mud, and their legacy tarnished, would have been a sorrow too great to bear. There are scant records of her life after the executions, but it is believed she retired from court life, living out her days in quiet seclusion. Her heart, no doubt, was forever broken. She passed away in 1538, less than 2 years after her children's deaths, her own story a footnote in the greater tragedy that befell her family. The most famous survivor of the Boleyn clan was Anne's younger sister, Mary. Her life had been no stranger to scandal, but her earlier affair with King Henry VIII and her subsequent quiet marriages shielded her, to a degree, from the worst of the fallout. While her sister and brother were imprisoned and executed, Mary was largely left alone. She was not a political threat, and her husband, William Stafford, was not a man of great influence. However, she was still a Boleyn, and the family's disgrace cast a long shadow. Mary's own children were not considered part of the royal succession, a stark contrast to her sister Anne's daughter, Elizabeth, who despite her initial bastardization, would one day become a great queen. Mary lived a relatively long life, a quiet observer of the Tudor court, her very existence a testament to the capricious nature of fortune. Her descendants, through her daughter Catherine Carey, would later serve in the court of her niece, Queen Elizabeth I, an ironic twist of fate that saw the family of the disgraced queen return to prominence. The Boleyns were not just a family of courtiers. They were a symbol of the dangerous allure and devastating volatility of the Tudor court. Their story serves as a cautionary tale of how quickly favor can turn to fury, and how a king's obsession can unravel the lives of those around him. Don't forget to like and subscribe to help us grow our channel. Anne's legacy, though tarnished for centuries, was ultimately redeemed by her daughter. Elizabeth I, the Virgin Queen, never publicly spoke about her mother's fate, but she quietly revered her memory, a silent acknowledgement of the woman who sacrificed everything for her birth. Elizabeth's reign saw a new golden age for England, and in a way, it was the ultimate vindication for her mother and her family. The legacy of treachery and tragedy that followed Anne Boleyn's death was a testament to the power of a king's wrath, but it also became a foundation for the reign of one of England's most celebrated monarchs. In the end, the Boleyn family story is a compelling, heartbreaking, and ultimately triumphant one. It speaks to the fragility of power, the cruelty of ambition, and the enduring resilience of the human spirit. The family that was almost completely erased by a single man's fury and a nation's silence found its final, powerful voice in the reign of a queen who bore their name. Their legacy, once steeped in tragedy, was ultimately redefined by the glory of their greatest descendant, a queen who would shape the course of history and ensure that the name Boleyn would never be forgotten. The echoes of their rise and fall, their treachery, and their tragedy continue to resonate through the corridors of time, a haunting reminder of the lives that were sacrificed for a throne. If you found this guide helpful, please give this video a like and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us create more content. Don't forget to ring the notification bell so you'll be the first to know when we release our next travel adventure. Thanks for watching. Again, don't forget to like and subscribe to help us grow our channel. Again, thank you for watching. We appreciate your patronage, and please ring that bell to receive notification on new videos. Don't forget to like and subscribe to help us grow our channel. Thank you for watching, and ring that bell to receive notification on new videos.